Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, wanted to come on here today and give a little tutorial about how we field dress deer here. It's very important that you get that deer once killed, get it back, get it cleaned up before you take it to the processor, or whether you process it, yourself. We just want to give a little quick tips on how we do it, kind of show the process of it. So this video will be a little bit graphic to you. So if you got a weak stomach or anything like that, make sure you're not going to watch this one. But we're going to dive right into it. We got the Dr. Daniels here, as we call him. This man loves to field dress deer and does a great job at it. So we just want to show that process and how we go about it, and we'll let him take it from here. So
yeah, first thing I'm going to do is get it laid up and get its stink eye looking right straight at us. And all I'm going to do, call it corn. If this is his butthole, we just want to take a knife, go in beside it, go all the way around, because it's real important that when you get the guts and the entrails out, that you make sure you get them all out. Everything about the digestive tract contains bacteria, and bacteria like this inside the guts is going to spoil your meat. So we want to make sure we get all contents out. So just go in the skin beside the tail hole and start coring it out. A good sharp knife is beneficial for this, because once we get all the way at the tail end, when we get to pulling from the windpipe back, we want to make sure every inch of the digestive tract comes out. Once you get all the way around it, you run your fingers down in, just make sure you're getting it separated from any membranes that are held in place, and you should be able to pull a couple inches of it out. Make sure that you have gone all the way around. And you want to lay your knife beside it. You don't ever want to get in at an angle, because then you're going to end up cutting the tail end of the digestive tract, and we don't want that. So you kind of want to lay it alongside and cut around it. So I think it's good enough for what we need today. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to start splitting some skin and try to open up these back hips. On a buck deer, I would start by cutting its testicles off, and that opens up his skin and gets you down to the bottom side of the stomach, where we'll start delicately getting in because my next rule with field dressing the deer is to make sure you don't puncture the guts. Now, biggest part of that takes off in the field. Make sure you get a good clean shot. Nobody wants to field dress a gut shot deer, although things happen. But we want to try to avoid that and avoid the spread of bacterial contaminants in our meat. So all I'm doing right now is just slowly working beside her milk glands, making sure I don't go too deep. Which right here there's not too much we can get into. But this next piece, we're going to start opening her up like a zipper. We're going to start getting skin laid back. And all I'm going to do is split her hide from her belly all the way on up as far as I need to get. I do have another knife that I like to use. It's got a gut hook on it, so I can make sure it's good and sharp.
The other leg, I'll open her up for you.
Try to keep as much hair out of the meat as we can. But just split her on all the way up to her brisket. And then take my nice pointy knife. And this is where you want to be careful, because right here is all of our intestinal cavity. So we're going to ease our way into this so that way we don't go through and poke any guts. And just make a small incision into the abdominal cavity. And then we can slowly work it bigger. We'll lay our knife flat so that we're not going down into stomach, we're not going into intestines. Then what I like to do is get in here, spread my fingers apart, and that way I can use my hand and push down on her guts. And I got a little room where I can go through with my knife blade and open her up. Once we get all of her intestines out, you'll be able to see how much is actually laid up in that little tiny space. I can get my hand on down in here. I can use my gut hook and just come right on up. At the same time, I'm taking my offhand and pushing it straight down. Alright, now we're up here at her diaphragm. We're just going to split these ribs and lay open her chest wall. So, majority of the work is done now.
If you were doing a buck, you wouldn't want, like you wanted to mount it, you wouldn't go.
I'd stop right here where you get to a sternum where the ribs start. I would have never split that hide up as far as I have. I'd have left the hide right here, and then all we would have done would make a circular all the way around 360 incision in the hide, and that leaves your taxidermist plenty of cape. And then from there, all you do is just work your skin back over the legs all the way up to the base of its neck, and you got your cape. But what we're going to do now is we got this diaphragm. We're going to get in here and separate the diaphragm from the abdominal cavity. A little smaller knife for this. And again, the whole time I'm doing this, I'm using my offhand to make sure I pull this stomach and intestines away from my knife blade. So I got one side all the way down to its backbone. And we're gonna come up in here and do the same thing. Now, got that to a good point. So from here, kind of hard to see, but up in here, what I'm going to do is run my hand and find our windpipe, and you can tell it's the windpipe because it's got all those ribs in it all the way up. And I'm going to work a separation away from the backbone and get as much of it as I can get. I'm gonna come in with my knife and cut as much of it as I can, because that's gonna be my handle for this next stage. Now that we've pretty much got it all worked loose, got this esophagus I gotta get to. Normally they lay side by side, but where I shot this one up front, they're separated pretty good. There's the esophagus where it eats, and this is your windpipe. But I'm going to keep a firm grip on this. I'm going to use my offhand and scoop it away from its backbone just to make sure I'm getting it all. And then we'll get it all laid out off to the side. And we're just going to pull until we got every ounce of intestines out. And we make sure we pull the boo-boo hole all the way through. And then so from here we'll just tidy things up. We'll get all the blood clots and the fat globules, and we'll get a hose and rinse her out and
get her all cleaned up.
Get her cleaned off and cooled off, and then she's ready for processing.
Alrighty.
Basically it. Core around the tail hole. Watch the stomach when you skin it all the way up. Carve around that diaphragm from your ribs. Much of the windpipe as you can grab a hold of. Cut it off. Pull it all out. So the very first step of coring, it's usually, you know, for beginners, usually more difficult. Kind of did a little hack job because normally I got somebody helping hold a leg, but that's it. That's all we do.
That's it. We appreciate y'all watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, do all those good things for us, and we'll catch you on the next one.